Thank you.
No problem.
What's that? What's that? That's some freaky stuff.
Good morning. All right, today we will be talking about the Divine Comedy. I think we were on Canto 7.
Look, there's that freak hockey.
Yep.
What's going on, Jamie?
You're a freak.
I thought you were different.
Ass hat.
Hey, Augie, I'm so sorry about Damie's bar. I think our jokes just went a little too far. Let me make it up to you. Do you want to ride? Yeah.
You're gonna pay for this.
They will pay. Well, everyone does, eventually.
How did you...
Let's just say I know things. I'm as bright as a morning star. I've been around a while.
I want them to feel my pain.
That could be arranged. In like a thief in the night. Out like a bat out of, well, you understand.
Yeah, sure.
Nice doing business with you.
What's up, Mike? How you feeling?
One word. Feces. You going on the air?
Yeah, in a few minutes. What's up?
It's nothing. It's just been a strange morning.
Hey, man. You're just hungover. You need sleep.
Yeah. I guess I'm gonna go take a nap. I'll see you later, John.
See you, man.
You're listening to Mountain Lion Radio. This is your DJ John Curtis, and that was local artist Jonah Carden with Last Train Home. I have breaking news. The state police department confirms that one person was found dead near campus this morning. There's no other details at this time. Keep listening to WVCU for more updates. The hell? Mountain Lion Radio. John Curtis speaking.
My name is Jamie. Jamie Carpenter. I was listening to the radio and I heard you say that there was a death on campus last night.
That seems to be the case, yes.
2 deaths since last night.
Wait, 2?
There's an ambulance outside my dorm, and there's somebody in a body bag. The police are down there talking to people, and...
Hello? Hello?
I'm Jamie. I was just on the phone with you. My phone died, and out of the corner of my eye, I saw this fog.
Who are you?
You were the only number that answered. All the other numbers I tried were busy.
Look, I called campus police, and the phone was busy too.
Yeah, we gotta go. Something's going on. You gotta help me.
Whoa. Sit down. Take a seat. Okay. What are your names?
I'm Jamie Carpenter.
John Curtis.
Jamie and John, why are you here? What can I do for you?
She said she saw a body bag outside her dorm.
Yeah, well, no need to worry about that. It was health related. Keep calm. State police got it.
What about last night?
Well, that was health related too, oddly enough. No foul play.
Listen, I keep seeing this fog.
Two dead bodies and you're here because of fog?
Officer Walters, I need to speak with you.
What now? You two stay here. What now? My God, it's driving me nuts. What?
There's been another death.
Jesus Christ. You know what? You two need to get the hell out of here. Something's come up.
But what about the fog?
I'm not going to put an APB out on the fog, okay? That's ridiculous. You know, out of my office. Pull the door to. Just get out. I gotta go.
What is it?
Augie Minton. Michael Hunt. Peter Saunders. Pete and I were talking. We gotta go.
Where?
To the baseball field. It's an open space, in case I'm still being followed.
What? Followed? By the same thing you saw in your room? He must have had a stroke or a heart attack. Did Pete have a heart condition?
No. He was in great shape.
What's with this guy?
We teased him. I think that Pete and I were the last to see him alive.
What do you mean?
We saw him after the bar last night. Pete was driving.
This Augie Minton, he was into some dark stuff. In the devil or something. Hey, listen to this. I give my soul to the morning star. Like a thief in the night, I take my revenge.
He's taking his revenge.
How can he... No. Augie Minton is dead.
What if he is? What if every single person who was at Danny's bar last night, who teased him, who made fun of him, what if they're all in some sort of...
In what? In danger? I was at the bar that night, minding my own damn business, Not giving a rat's ass about anything other than my drink and my phone. And certainly not Augie Mitten. So you think that he is...
No. I don't know. Okay? I don't know.
I'm not buying this. No. Hell no. Look, I can't just sit here anymore. I'm going back to the station.
I'm going to the restroom.
Okay, I'm gonna go finish my logbook.
Dr. Herb West is here, and he performed autopsies on each of the students. Mr. West, was there anything unusual about these deaths?
Well, each student died from cardiac arrest. The first death seemed to be a normal heart attack. Something that perplexes me is that 3 of the 5 deaths, the victims' hearts, seem to have been literally crushed in a